So what's up, Luciano? How are you?
Fine, Jamie. Thanks for having me here, and your podcast is amazing. I always hear your podcast, and I have to congratulate you.
Thank you, thank you. As I'm trying to give a voice to a lot of the people in, especially in ITF Taekwondo. Like we have a lot of top level competitors and coaches and that, and they don't, and a lot of them have stories that they tend to not get a platform to maybe tell. So maybe this can offer a platform to them, and as well. Then I like to maybe cross into other sports and other martial arts and see what's kind of similar and what experiences are similar for everybody.
Yes, I think it's very important what you say about giving the voice to those who are, I may say working on Taekwondo ITF, because Taekwondo ITF is each day more and more professional, and all the coaches, all the competitors, all the people are trying to get the best of it. And I think the only chance we have to make this more professional and to make grow our art is by join us all in all the countries and share a common vision of what we want to do with our art. So that's very, very important what you are doing.
And I know you were just saying, when do you think the lockdown is going to lift in Argentina?
Well, I really don't know. I think that the lockdown officially will end next week on April 26th, but we know it's just a date, because the president will say that we will have to wait 2 or 3 more weeks. And of course, this will be doing it gradual. First, I think the factories will start working, and then maybe some parts of the industry, but not the schools, not the college, not the dojins. So I think we'll have to wait till July or August, because we have the winter holidays in June and July in Argentina. Those are the most cold months of the year. So after those months, I think we will start working again. I may say August, if we have luck.
Yeah, hopefully. And how are you doing? Many online classes to try and maybe keep some engagement with your students and your members?
Yes, I'm doing 3 classes weekly: Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and some one-to-one class via WhatsApp when I have time. But my main problem is that I have my dojo, and I teach Taekwondo in 3 private schools, primary schools, elementary schools, and though the classes are suspended, so I have just me 300 students. So I have contact with 50 of them, 60, no more than that.
Yeah, so not good, not very good. Like it's a long time to be like not in contact with your members.
Yeah. Yes, it's something that we should face, because there's always someone worse than you. I mean, there are a lot of people that invest in a business, or they have, I don't know, a shop, and they couldn't work, and how people can live with 5 or 6 months of not working. I don't know, but I don't want to create or to talk about a duality, a dichotomy between economy or health. I don't think that's the point of the discussion. I think we should talk about economy and health. So I really don't have a solution or idea of what the governments should do. It's very uncertain.
Yeah, like you said, it's, and before you even came over, it's something that's never happened to any of us before. So who actually does have a solution, really, or who knows? Nobody's experienced it, so nobody has a definite solution.
Yes, I was reading today in the newspaper the difference between Israel, Sweden, the United States, Italy, Argentina. Every country has an idea, but they really don't know. Look what happened in England. The first moment they say, okay, let's open everything. Uh, they have an idea, and I'm not saying that it was a mistake. I'm saying that this is day by day, minute by minute, and we are trying to see how this virus and the pandemic is developing. It's really really sad because we don't know what we are facing. If we know this is a war, okay, maybe we know we could have an idea, but this is uncertain. It's a war against something invisible.
Yeah, that's a big challenge. Yeah, that
Yeah.
nobody knows about. That nobody has any idea of really what this virus is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
do you think what do you think? What's your opinion of, is the World Cup going to go ahead in October?
No, I don't think it's going to go ahead. I think they are going to cancel it because it's, I don't know. Let's say that we have a vaccine the next month, but from that moment we have to wait for people to get access to that vaccine. And for example, in Argentina, different to other countries, we have another problem, that is the economy, and especially the inflation. Our currency, the peso, is so attached to the US dollar that our economy is merely dollarized de facto. I say, and nowadays we don't know how much a peso worth, because it may be $1 can be 90 pesos, 100, 150, and in that conditions now, I don't think the Argentinian people could travel like we used to do. You see that every tournament Argentina is present with a lot of competitors and coach and spectators, but I think this year for us would be very hard, and I think for people in Europe too.
Yeah, it's going to be it would be a very challenging event, and at this, like you said, at this stage, and nobody has. I'd be very surprised if anybody has anything booked in terms of flights or accommodation, and it's getting to the point where that's going to be very expensive to do now. So it could be, like you said, financially not viable to do.
Yeah, yeah. I for me the most logical thing to do will be to postpone this World Cup Slovenia for 2022. Let Finland for 2021, and well, because I know the organizers were making such a big effort, and I was waiting that the best World Cup ever, sincerely, because I know Master Thomas Varada and I know Grandmaster Wimbos. They were working so hard, and it was everything so professional. Everything, the accommodation, the stadium, everything was perfect. So for me, if I were them, I will try to postpone for 2022 and wait for things get calm.
Yeah, I suppose if that could be maybe the best solution, if that can be organized with the arena and the hotels that are in Slovenia, if that can be arranged, that could possibly be the best solution there. Yeah, I would agree.
Yes, we luckily I didn't have time to buy the tickets. I have the tickets for the IIC in Korea, and the hotel room reserve, everything, and I could recover the money. They refunded to me, but luckily I didn't bought anything for Slovenia. It will be another headache for me. So I I would prefer to wait.
Yeah, but even as you said, you're probably not going to have a chance to get back into your gym till August, and maybe if it goes a little bit longer, even then, will people have had time to train for this tournament? And if people haven't trained, they're not going to go, because why would you go unprepared? And if people don't go, then you don't have a World Cup.
Exactly. There will be an underestimated World Cup, because before this happened last year, I said maybe Slovenia will have the World Cup record assistance more than Budapest. I was waiting 3,000 assistant participants, but now I don't know. I don't know if they could get 1,000. So it makes no sense for me. Economically, sportive, everything, it's gonna be underestimated.
Yeah, 100. I would agree. Yeah. So just changing a little bit tact. How did you actually get started in taekwondo and get started in martial arts?
Well, it's been a long time. I started in 1984. I was
Long time. Long time.
yeah, a long time ago. I was really young. I was eight, 8 or 9 years old. And I started in WTF Taekwondo, in the Olympic Taekwondo. At that time, I didn't know there was an ITF or a WTF. I just went where my dad took me. So I started there, and after 2 or 3 years, we moved from one town to another. And so I changed my Taekwondo, and I started with an instructor that he used to teach some mixed taekwondo between WTF and ITF. It was a mix of both. And finally, in 1996, 97, I moved to the ITF, but to the Choi Chong-hwa's line until 2010 that I started here, working here in the best ITF.
The best ITF. And then is in terms of like WTF to ITF comparison in Argentina, which would be bigger?
It's strange what happened in Argentina. From 10 competitors, 9 are ITF. It's the only country in the world that this happened. I think it's incredible. You go out on the streets, 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. In Buenos Aires or in any city in the surroundings, in the suburbs, you can see kids wearing the ITF dobok on the streets. All the parents taking the kids to the dojo. An official day statistics says that after football, Taekwondo ITF is the most practiced sport in Argentina.
If we could get that in every country,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be something. Imagine a world championships then.
No, it's incredible. Have you ever seen the our black belt certificates in Argentina?
No.
I think the last December, I don't remember exactly the number, but for example, my students are, the first degree certificate is AR1, 50,000 or 60,000, I don't know.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen the pictures. I have seen the pictures, obviously, from the IICs in Argentina, and they're also pretty impressive.
Yes. That's what I'm telling you. Is like very popular. I would say sport. It's a martial art, but it's a very popular activity here in Argentina.
Interesting. Yeah, we might come back to that.
Yeah.
In terms of, would you have competed straight away? Would you have always been a competitor when you started Taekwondo?
No, I have a mixed feeling with this because I spent the first years of Taekwondo just staying in the class. I was in the school at that moment in the Choi Chong-hwa's ITF, where my instructor, he didn't like the sport part of the Taekwondo. He didn't want us to go to tournaments. He didn't want us to go to cups. We stay only to practice in the dojo and exams, no tournaments, nothing. And so I started competing at 25, 26, and only my only international tournament at that moment was Pan American in Buenos Aires in 2004. 2004, 2005, I got silver in sparring. And then when I moved to this ITF, I started competing, but it was a little bit late for me because I was in my 30s. So I must say I enjoyed for a short time the competition. I mean, in the international tournaments, but I really like it, and luckily I could have results in those short years because I got three gold medals in the World Cup, so I was really happy.
Would you have been more sparring orientated than patterns at the time, or was it a bit of a mix?
It was a mix. I always prefer patterns. All my life I prefer patterns, but when I felt I was sure about my pattern style, I lose and I win I won in sparring. It's strange. It happens to me last World Cup in Australia, in Sydney. I was so prepared for patterns. I had the feeling that I was gold on silver for sure. I don't know why, but I had that feeling, and I lost in quarterfinals by one vote. So I lost the medal for one vote, but I got silver in sparring, which I was not prepared at all. After 5 rounds, I got to the final and I got silver. So I say it's incredible.
I find a lot of you would see a lot of maybe younger competitors who might have the same situation and then decide that I'm just going to spar now, and that means I'm going to give up patterns. When actually maybe if you enjoy patterns, maybe why not keep doing patterns and keep sparring? But sometimes people, because they have maybe a little bit more success in one than the other, they decide I'm only good at one and lose interest in the other one.
Yes, I totally agree with you. In Jamaica World Cup 2014, I compete at everything. Power breaking, special techniques, team sparring, team patterns, everything. I did everything, and I really enjoyed it. And I always say to my students, try to prove everything. I have my students, my top elite student Ivan. It's a silver medal in the last World Championship in Insel, plus 85 kilograms. He always practice patterns. I think he has a privileged body for sparring. He's 2 meters tall, but I'm not so good for patterns. You see the tall guys, we are not good for patterns, unluckily. But he always go and try in patterns, because I say you have to try in patterns because you never know. And he's really good to be that tall in patterns.
Yeah. So then when did you start? When did you open up your first school?
I started with classes in 2002, 2003. I started teaching, but only for my family, only for my nephews and nieces. I had another job. I'm a journalist, and I used to work and collaborate with newspapers and media at that time, also in marketing and public relations. So I had my official job at that time. In 2006, some kids from the neighborhood started and say, "Oh, we want to try," and so I opened the doors to everyone, and then it's where everything started. October 3, 2006, my first official class.
It's just growing since then.
Yes, really, it was a huge growing, because now we have more than 1,000 students.
From just teaching your family to that big, it's been so that's some growth.
Yes, it's incredible. I have a phrase, a quote that I always have in my mind. In Spanish, doesn't sound that good, but in English it's perfect. It's, don't take it for granted. I don't take anything for granted. Every Monday, I went to the dojo and I have 60 or 70 people in the adult class. It's the last class. And when I see 60 people there, I couldn't believe it. And it's happening to me for the last 15 years. But I don't take it for granted, because I say, I don't know if there's an instructor in the world with 60 or 70 people in the adult class.
Yeah, it's so hard to keep like that. You might get that for even a very good club could get that for a short period of time, but to consistently have that for that long period of time, it can be very hard, because it's the hardest people to keep. They have the most going on in their lives, so it's hard. Things come up and people leave, people go. So to keep that consistent level is something incredible.
Yeah, and apart from that, for those 60 people, there are 40 there are black belts. So it talks about a loyalty through the years, people that are in love with the taekwondo as much as I am.
And so then, how many competitors would you have on the national team? How many would you have had for Germany?
For Germany, we took three competitors, one adult and two juniors on the national team.
And is that kind of just? Would you think that maybe you could have a few more, considering there's so many black belts in the club? Or is it just a standard that it's so hard to get on the Argentinian national team with so many numbers?
Yes, of course, it's very difficult to have competitors in the national team, because you have lots of schools and there are so many great competitors here. The problem with some of my students, one problem is the economic situation in Argentina. A lot of times the best don't make it to the national team. But my school is really big, but we are very young. Lots of my students are young people, and I don't have that many seniors, so many seniors. But I think in the coming years, more and more competitors from our schools will make it to the national team.
I would imagine so. It's always the challenge, isn't it? Is trying to keep people from junior to senior, and like that. Just other things kick in, and maybe taekwondo isn't the number one priority anymore as it was. So to keep those people and bring them through to senior can be quite difficult as well.
Yes, and sometimes in Argentina it's very difficult to get a commitment with the national team, because sometimes the schedules and the trainings are far from the kids' home, or they are studying at university or at school, and they couldn't make a commitment, and they go only to a world championship as individual. And that's why you see sometimes we have two competitors in individuals from patterns, and they are not on the national teams from patterns. You see, or the same happens in sparring. We have the best competitors plus 80 or plus 85, 75, 78 or plus 70. They qualify from individuals, but they are not on the team. And you say, how is that possible? Well, because they can't train with the national team. Sometimes, being such a big country and with so many students and competitors, make us having those difficulties that maybe you in Ireland don't have, because you are a smaller country.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've said this to quite a few people now, that one of the benefits, if we have national team training pretty much every 2 weeks on a build up to a championships, and the only thing that really might interrupt that kind of schedule will be for a competition. And we can do that because we are so small, and we're only a 3-hour drive from pretty much anywhere in the country. So everybody can come together, everybody can train with each other, and success breeds success. Iron sharpens iron. This kind of thing happens, and when you have the best people together, you can make good progress in training. So I think that's one benefit that we have that, like you said, Argentina doesn't have, and a lot of other countries don't have.
Yes. I spoke about this with Adrian, with Richie,
Yeah,
because we always I admire so much the Irish style. You have a lot of competitors, and I think it's contagious. It's when you train with those talented people, the talent came to you because you train so hard with them in the dojo, in the class, that you have to be aware of that, and you get to a championship in very good conditions. In Argentina, it's so difficult. It's like United States. Um, if I drive 3 hours, like you said, maybe I can go to Buenos Aires and came back to my home, and it's 30 kilometers.
yeah.
You see, it's incredible. So imagine maybe I drive 10 hours and I'm still in the same province.
Yeah, it's a much different, it's a way different situation to what
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
benefiting from. But I like that, like you said, like the energy and that the amount, quite a like it happens pretty much every campaign that we have people who maybe it's their first time on the team, and the jump in the improvements they make from just being around all the best people, like they come back for their second campaign and their level has gone up tenfold because just being around those best people and experiencing the squad sessions, it brings them on so much.
Yes. I think the level is. Sorry, can you repeat me that part? Because my kid came into the room. Anda para allá, Joaquín. No puedo escuchar, Joaquín. No puedo. Anda para allá porque allá se corta. Anda para allá. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't hear that question, Jamie. Sorry.
No, no worries. I was just saying, what I was saying was that oftentimes that when we have especially a junior who's their first competition, it's their first time on the
Yeah.
team, their first time experiencing the squad sessions, that after that, and then just being around the squad for that first campaign, their level can go up so much. It can go up tenfold, and that by the time they come back for their second campaign, they're 10 times better just from being around the best people and experiencing the training with those people.
Yes. Yes. I mean, with juniors, it's very important to have their feet on the ground, because sometimes you, as a junior, you see a lot of good competitors, and you say, "Oh, this kid he's gonna be awesome. His future is for world champ." And then when they go to the senior category, it's a completely different thing. I think there's something you should have in your head to have your feet on the ground, and think that nothing can stay forever. And maybe you have a good career as a junior, but then you have to slow down and see how things could evolve, because sometimes a junior competitor, if their expectations are so very high, they can crash into a wall and lose a lot of things.
Yeah, and I find that it can even go the other way sometimes. People who weren't very successful as juniors can often go and be very successful seniors.
Yes, of course. Um, I always take an example as an example, Mark Trotter, because he was a world champion as a junior in parents, and he could never repeat it again as a senior, because people think Mark is all the time world champion. No, he has to work so hard for it, so hard. He won in pre-arranged sparring. He had won in sparring, but he never won in senior patterns. His first and only time was in Ireland. That's, I think, for me, he's an example of perseverance, because he knew at one point he could have that medal, and I think there are not many people with that head and that mind.
And especially he was always so close. He was, you know, he was in the
Yeah,
finals sometimes, and
yeah,
sometimes he'd lose to the winner
yes,
maybe earlier on.
because he has to compete in a time when you have where you have Suska, you have Lilian Delay, you have Maxime Bujol, you have Stephen Ryan, you have a lot of amazing competitors that it was not easy. It's Suska. I mean, if you talk in Taekwondo patterns, it doesn't matter the ITF, it doesn't matter what style. Suska is, I mean, the most success and well-known competitor in ITF patterns of all times. But Mark never surrendered.
Yeah, that's what I know. Definitely, I was very happy to see him win that medal in Ireland and be rewarded for the persistence and for being so close so many times.
Yeah, me too. And because he trained in Argentina for that gold medal, he trained with instructor here, Gustavo Balvis. He was during 4 years the national team physical trainer, and you know it was he treated Mark as a junior, not as a star. You know,
Yeah,
he said, Mark, I don't care what you think or what is your opinion. You will do what I said. And for Mark, it was so hard at the beginnings, but then he understood that it was for his world, and he got the goal.
and I know he mentioned it on the podcast that he had worked with Gustavo, and he said that he said he accredited a lot of his success to training with
Yeah.
Gustavo Balbas. He also felt that Argentina's success in team patterns and patterns in general at the last Worlds was somewhat down to Gustavo Balbas. Would you say the same? Would you have the same feeling, or would there be maybe another reason why Argentina did so well in patterns at the last World Championships?
Yes, I think they have there were a lot of factors. One was Gustavo for sure, but all the members of the national team, Master Gadea did an amazing job, and the all the competitors put the best of them. The biggest. It was a big effort for everybody because they had to travel a lot and train. I mean, the male senior team, pattern team, was the best I've ever seen. For me, it's gonna stay in the history of Taekwondo forever because there were 5 amazing and talented competitors, but working as one. There was because maybe you have 5 talented people, but there's not a common belonging, a common sense of unity. But these 5 guys work as one. You see them walking the same, wearing the same haircut. There was like one person and 5 personalities. They were amazing. But you see, the national team after 4 years, they got 4 gold medals, and now they were removed. So this is another unbelievable thing about Argentinian Taekwondo. You get the number 1, you have 4 goals, and they are removed. It's incredible.
Yeah, only time will tell if that's the right decision. I think.
Yeah, of course, and I have nothing against the new national coaches. I mean, they are excellent trainers, and they are my friends. I think they are excellent professionals, but the decision about removing somebody who put you in the first place, it's very controversial, at least.
And so with a lot of work that have went in, like you said, that people can't be on the teams if they can't make the trainings. So there have been a lot of work in those trainings, a lot of extra hours put in by the team patterns to achieve what they did at the last World Championships.
Yes, because as I said before, you have to think that Taekwondo is not a professional. People don't get money for practice And in Argentina, we have a very special economic situation that make us work double or three times as people in Europe, maybe, because we have to work and to travel a lot. Distances are huge in Argentina, and when you have a commitment like that, you can expect those results, because people in Argentina is moved by passion, and you see how we move and how we support each other. I think passion is our biggest. It's at the same time a pro and a con for us. You see, because sometimes passion make us lose our head, but passion also give us that strength that we need to obtain the result.
Yeah, definitely. There is the Argentinians are full of that passion, and it's always one of the best. There's always a buzz when the chants get going at the championships, and I remember for me there was one standout where maybe he won't like me mentioning, but he spoke about it when he was on the pocket with Julio, when the guy from Argentina managed to land that 360 and happened to knock him out. There was a lot of Argentinians around, and myself and some of the guys were sitting in the middle, and the atmosphere at that was something crazy. For a taekwondo tournament, it was like, it was, you know, a big maybe UFC kind of car. It was that kind of just everything. Oh, and there was cheering, and it was a completely different experience to what we're used to.
Yes, against Matias Bustamante. I mean, as we are in taekwondo, we are in every aspect of our lives in Argentina. Sometimes it's difficult to deal with it. I live in England for 1 year. I travel a lot. My wife is Ukrainian, so I have a knowledge for the rest of the world. And sometimes it's difficult to understand our behavior, because we are so passionate, and we live everything as a matter of live and death. You know, if we lose a football match, a taekwondo match, it's the death for us, and we are devastated. But if you win, you are the king of the world, which is also a problem, because you are not the king of the world. You just won a match, you know. So
Yeah.
it's so hard to be Argentina. It's really hard. We are crazy.
Yeah, it's anybody who was on the national team or the Irish national team for 2009, the World Championships in Argentina. They always say that was their favorite competition, or their favorite atmosphere for what was there. So I wasn't at that one. It was that was the one just before I came onto the team, so I missed that one.
Okay.
I'm always kind of good at it. I'd love to have experienced it.
Yes, I know who he is. I know who he is because he told me. He told me the story of that tournament, and yes, it's incredible. Argentinian people with drums and trumpets in the stadium. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so you already kind of made an interesting point that I kind of said we come back to, is for you it's kind of taekwondo is martial art first and maybe sport second. Or what's your kind of thought behind that?
I think it's a martial art, but sport is what makes us a family. Because if it weren't for competition, you and I, Luciano and Jamie, we wouldn't been talking. I wouldn't be on the ITF Coaches Committee, or the sportive aspect of taekwondo has something very interesting that make us work together. And as I said before, our school has more than 1,000 practicants, students, and only 10 are top elite competitors. I mean, a very few amount of them. But those people has a strong significance in our school and in our practice. Because I think that the sportive part, when you go and compete in patterns or on sparring, you are competing against yourself, not only with with your opponent, but against you. And that's the maximum expression of the martial art. When you have to go there and you get into the tatami and the judges are looking at you and you have that feeling, that adrenaline, and it's, well, this is what I've been practicing for, this situation, this moment. So with that competition, I don't know, you have to wait for somebody to attack on the street to prove if your skills are good. But luckily that don't happen every time, and I hope it never happens to anybody. So we have the competition, and when you are in the tatami, you know that the other one wants to punch you, wants to kick you, and you will have to defend yourself. So for me, it's the martial art taken to the most real situation that you could live. And that's what it makes it so interesting. Not the medal. The medal is good, but I have 30 medals in the box, and Trotter will have 100, and Suska will have 1,000. But the feeling, the situation, I think it's like, it's addictive. You go to a tournament and it ends, and maybe you are hurt, you are very tired, exhausted, but you want more. I said, I want another tournament tomorrow. It's addictive.
Yeah, I think even for me, I think the martial art aspect and the competition is somewhat, they're intertwined in terms of, for me, I always think that, but we try to promote, obviously there's the tenets of Taekwondo, and maybe that could be more seen as maybe the martial arts side of Taekwondo. But I think that competition provides the best opportunity to have to implement the tenets of Taekwondo. You have to show to courtesy, integrity, all those 5 tenets. Competition offers the best opportunity for you to have to display them and to train them. So that's why I think martial art, competition, they completely intertwine. And like you said, maybe not necessarily maybe you don't want to be world champion, but I would like to encourage people, and especially the younger kids and competitor and students in Taekwondo, to compete and experience competition as much as they could to get that sense of to get that sense and improve there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jamie. I must say that in these last 4 years with Maestro Gadea and Maestro Esponda in the national team, we not only make it to the first place or we won so many goals, but we make a big process to display those tenets that you mentioned, because before them we were like immersed in that craziness that I was telling you. I remember what happened in Jet-Solo 2015. It was terrible for the national team, with one of our coaches shouting and screaming. It was crazy, and for us it was like everybody was watching us because of our behavior, and nobody was watching us because our patterns or our sparring or our power breaking matches. They were watching us how Argentina behaves. And the last national team was a big they make a big effort to change that, and I think they make it in Ireland. Do you remember the sparring male team pattern? No, not the sparring, the team pattern, the males. Argentina against Italy.
Yes.
That controversy with the judges and with the system, and I knew Argentina. Everybody knew Argentina was such a good team. I don't know if they won. For me, they won. It's my personal opinion, and I think everybody had the same opinion. But after a controversy with the score, there was something wrong. But everybody was waiting for Argentina to react and to start with bad behavior. And luckily, they say we accept the defeated. And I think it was a great display of talent, of integrity, I may say, because we accepted, although we felt it was unfair.
Yeah, I do remember that Patterns final. I thought Argentina were going to win. I thought maybe it was close, but I thought they would. I thought they did win. But the only thing was we had lost to Italy in the earlier rounds. So after that, we got to say we lost to the winners.
Okay, I see. Yes, I use that too.
Yeah. So so you mentioned then that you're now part of the ITF Coaches Committee. What would you like to see achieved with that committee?
Well, I must say in first place that it's one of the best things that happens to me in my career as a martial artist, because it's such a great position to be there and talking with some of the best coaches in the world. And when Adrian proposed that to me, it was like, well, this is most valuable than 10 gold medals. And we would like to be the voice between the coaches around the world and the ITF, because sometimes you have your opinion as a coach, and it's important if you can share that voice and that opinion to other coaches, and put all the voices together and say to ITF, the coaches around the world wants this, or we think we can improve this area, or that we should do this, or we shouldn't do that anymore. And that's one of the best things that in all the committees, I'm talking about all the committees, the umpire, the DO, the athletes committee, and for me, the coaches committee it's one of the best. We are working a lot. Even this situation, we are working a lot. We were working on a survey. We were working on the second conference too. So we hope that we can be that voice between ITF and the coaches.
Yeah, the coaches conference I think is something that would be great to see regular, because like Adrian is my instructor, my coach, so I know it's something he had spoke about that he wanted to do for quite a long time, and I always thought it was a very good idea, and I really enjoyed the last one that was on in Ireland. So I think there's a lot of benefits to having that conference, and I think it would be great if we could see that continue on, and even it would be great for everybody else if it opens up maybe around the rest of the world to have something similar.
Yes, I'm learning a lot from Adrian, a lot, and I'm very thankful for that, because when you are a certain age, I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm 5th degree, I'm going to be 6th degree next year, and you say, I know everything, and it's not. Nobody knows nothing. You know, the other day I was talking with Grandmaster Boss, and I named a pattern that there was created by General Choi, Yunnan, but he removed it, and Grandmaster Boss said, I didn't know that. You are teaching me something. And that's the important thing, that anybody can teach to anybody in ITF. And I think the difference between this ITF and the rest of the Taekwondo world is that we have that democracy and that aspect that we know that everyone can learn from anyone. And I'm learning a lot from Adrian. And in Ireland, you have very good and professional projects and systems, sport systems. I didn't know that in Ireland you have to have a certain level to be a coach. I mean, a professional level, and to take a course. In Argentina, anyone can be a coach. And I see a lot of coaches in Argentina. They don't know nothing about health or RCP or nothing. You know, sometimes you see a competitor lying on the floor and you don't know what to do. So that's another thing that we want to make through the coaches committee. Not only be that voice, but also educate. And I think Adrian is a great educator, not only a great coach, but he's a a great educator. And I think the system that you have in Ireland could work from a lot of countries.
Yeah, 100%. I think it'd be something that would be, I think, very interesting to see implemented throughout all of ITF, and to see something standardized and put out there. And like the agent's very, very lucky, because he kind of comes as well with a different hat, because he's around coaching all the time, and he's not involved with just taekwondo. He sees other sports and the way they go about it. So he's around the kind of that space all the time. So he brings a lot of knowledge from other areas into taekwondo, which I think is really useful.
Yes. He's a multitasking level, because he brings things from other sports to taekwondo, and from university to the sports, and he has an open mind, and it's very important that we have in the ITF talented people and professional people. And repeating the Grandmaster Boss words, in the past, you have to be a master or a grandmaster to be part of the decisions, or to have a voice in the taekwondo. And now, in this ITF, I found that there are professionals. It doesn't matter your degree. When I presented my book, I have the huge privilege to have Grandmaster Trachtenberg, Grandmaster Marano, and Grandmaster Ung Kim Lang in the presentation. And they were learning from me. I was terrified, because I'd say, what are these three grandmasters doing here, listening to me? And they were so humble to be there, and always they give me their support. And I mean, it's crazy. And when you feel that somebody's listening to you, you work with more energy and with more passion and professionalism.
Yeah, so I think even like you said, sometimes like anybody, to some degree in Argentina, anybody can open a club, and start teaching. Whereas Ireland, you have to have some qualifications. I think that's kind of sometimes, like you said, even when it comes to the voice and having a voice and having to be a master, not necessarily because of your degree doesn't always mean that you're the best person for the job, or that you actually are very good, or that it doesn't mean that you're a good coach. It doesn't mean that you're the best at a certain job because of your degree. So sometimes if we can move past that, and who's actually has the best skills can sometimes be best for the job.
Yeah. What I was telling you before, it has to do with it. In Argentina, taekwondo is so big and so popular, but it has another dark part of that, because anyone can be an instructor, and there are plenty of McDojos here, and people getting their black belt in 1 year, 2 years, and there are black belt factories, and what is so illegal, but they keep doing it. And sometimes you receive people training. I have people coming to my dojo and say, I'm a black belt and I want to practice with you. And I say, okay, for how long have you been training? 2 years. And I say, and you're a black belt already. That happens a lot. But luckily, now we live in the area of technology and social media. And social media is putting on the table the players. And some people start realizing who are the true instructors and who are the fake ones.
Yeah, it's becoming much. I would hope that it's starting to become much easier to find out who the players are. And before, maybe you couldn't get as much information, and all you had was, there's a taekwondo gym over here, there's a taekwondo gym over here. I don't know the difference. To me, it's all just taekwondo, because I'm a beginner. Yeah. Whereas hopefully that starts to change, as you said, with technology, and it's much easier to find out, what this person is doing isn't really this, or isn't the real thing, and what's over here. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, special parents. I want to take my son, my daughter, to taekwondo. Okay, I will take him to the nearest club, and they don't care about who's the instructor. And then we have to re-educate that kid and teaching from Saju Chirugi, everything.
Yeah. And you might have said it already, but what is the biggest difference between, because you said already that you think this is the best ITF and you've mentioned some differences. What would you say is the biggest difference between this ITF and the other organization you've been a part of?
Freedom and democracy. I would choose those two words because always asking or telling your master, but I never found a limit here. When I wanted to write my book or presented it, I received support and I was encouraged to do it. But in my previous ITF, in the previous ITF, I felt that you had to ask for permission to do anything, and in the most of cases, you have a no as an answer, and no because no, there was not a reason behind that no. As a second part behind democracy and freedom, I would say the level of competition. In this ITF, you have the best competitors in the world. In the last World Championship, on the other ITF, there were like 20 countries, 30 countries. There were no a real championship.
And what did you? I'm not told. I heard some maybe rumors that the World Cup was going to be open to other ITFs. What would you maybe have thought of that? Would you have thought maybe they would have had many winners or medal? How do you think that would have went if it was open to all ITF groups? Yeah. Nearly finished.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. Hey, for me, it was like 10 minutes. I'm having a great time here.
Yeah, it goes quick.
Yeah. You were telling me about the World Cup, and the rumors that it was going to be open. I think it was like that, and I agree. I agree with that. I think it is a great opportunity to tell our Taekwondo brothers in the other ITF to show how we work and to show our competitions, our level, and how we are. We are Democrats. We hear everyone, and I think it is a good chance, and I hope when we can maintain that. Of course, ITF should assure that people who pays for a certificate or for a membership, we should get benefit from it. I mean, maybe we should pay less for the fees, but we can be open to anyone if they want to be part of it, and with other costs, of course.
Yeah, I know as a competitor, it would have been a very an interesting experience to maybe have people from outside of the ITF to maybe compete against, because I know I have this feeling, and I know other people have it, that when you're at senior and you're in those senior divisions for a while, you get used to seeing the same faces. You spar a lot of the same people, so some new faces is always good.
Yes. They have another rules, not that different, but they have to spin, or the points are different. But I think it's a great challenge. And now, if if you are champion on that World Cup, you may say you are a really World Cup champion. But our tournaments are huge and so professional that I really like it.
And like I said, I won't keep it too much longer. Just maybe one more question is, who would you say is your who is your favorite fighter? Maybe not even fighter, maybe favorite competitor, but maybe favorite fighter as well.
From all times or
All time,
nowadays?
yeah. All time.
Well, in female, I would say Katia Solovey.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has the most. Yours too.
Probably male or female she'd be my favorite fighter all time. Yeah, in Taekwondo.
Because there are so many talented competitors and females too. I may say Julia Gross or Soledad Serrano from Argentina, Pato Garelic too from Argentina. But I think Katia has a unique mystique. Even though if you don't see it alive, you see Katia videos, it inspires you. She has a special magic. For me, she's my favorite fighter. In the in the males, I would say I like from the old style, Paul Germain. Paul Germain, I think. Pierre Guinet was more, I don't know how to say it, more attitude or more. It was more a showman. But Paul Germain was like a machine. You know, he shot when he has to shot. He has a strong kick. From the present, I like a lot Adam Shelley from Ireland. I like it very much, and there are a lot of fighters that I like. Lots of them.
It's a good time.
Yes, it's like a golden generation for you. And Timothy and Vitaly. For me, those are my favorites.
You can't say that. I wouldn't say he's a very good fighter.
I said like 5 or 6. I don't know.
Look, like I said, very good fighter. I really enjoy competing against him. So yeah, it's always a challenge. But yeah.
And how it was? What can you say about the fight against?
About my fight against him?
Yes.
Very close. I think it was very, very even with the legs, and he scored the better with the hands. I think was the difference, and I didn't score clean with the hands. So I think that was the difference. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference between being a good competitor and being an athlete. I think nowadays more and more competitors are becoming athletes, but not all of them are athletes. I mean, when you are so professional in your training, in what you eat, in how you sleep, in all the parts of your training, you become an athlete. And that's when you make the difference. When you do a professional training, the results are shown by itself on the tatami. The difference is huge. Maybe you are a good competitor and you pass the first match, the first round, but you will make it into the second and third and fourth. The level is too high now in ITF, so high that it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and like you said, it's only growing. There's only more and more people are given that commitment. So it's only getting harder, and the level is only getting higher. Yeah,
sometimes people ask me if I prefer the old school taekwondo or the present taekwondo, and I agree 100% sure. I'm 100% sure that I like this taekwondo. For me, we are in the best era of taekwondo. I mean, in the 90s it was good. In the 2000 it was good. We have a lot of legends, and I not underestimate that. that part of taekwondo. But now it's what you see. It's unbelievable. I like it really much, and I enjoy it. And every day I enter into YouTube and I watch Island, Incel, Budapest, Australia, and I say I've seen matches 10 times and I don't get tired of watching it.
Yeah, I think. Well, oftentimes I feel like you said the older maybe generation or no is look. The opinion is that it was tougher, it was harder, and there was more contact. I feel that that's somewhat down to the rule changes. That if you started to let the contact go, you would still see as the skill level would still be really high. Competitors would still be tough, would still be really strong, and I think the same people would win because winners win at the end of the day. And
yes.
I just think so. I think if the rule change has affected the toughness and the how much of a war some fights are, I think that's mostly a rule change, not necessarily the fighters changing.
Yes, I agree with you. The rules are made in a way that competitors should adapt to it, and not the rules to the competitor. These last days, there were a guy from Argentina doing some interviews, and they asked everyone about if they would like to see knockouts in Taekwondo ITF. And I think 90% of people answer yes, which I don't know if I agree. I don't agree with that. I think we should keep the light contact and not the knockout. Maybe the ring is too big for a knockout, and if you feel like you are in danger, you can avoid a knockout. But as you mentioned before, the 360 with Matias Bustamante with Julio Carlos, that was a proper knockout. And I think we should consider some knockouts legal, and some others no, don't. But that's another discussion. We should sit down in the coaches committee and discuss it. It will be a long discussion.
I would think so. Yeah, that could be a good thing to bring up at that level. Yeah, definitely. There's different levels of knockouts. There's like we said, there's that 360. There's if it's a bande, there's those type of knockouts, and then there's somebody was just being wild and was a bit wild with the hands, and somebody gets knocked out. Yeah. That's a different story.
Yeah, let's start with this simple issue. There's not the same a knockout with the hand, a knockout with the legs. For me, it's not the same.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that if there was that distinction in the rules, even maybe that small one, that would maybe be something that would be good.
Yeah, of course. I have a situation, the last World Championship in the final, plus 85. My student, Ivan, with Sebastian Lurachi. It was, Ivan is my student and my nephew is my oldest student. He's with me since he was 3 or 4 years old. Ivan got his nose broken from the quarterfinals. And in the final, Sebastian hit him very hard on the nose and he couldn't keep going. The doctor said, you can't keep going. Maybe in that case, I should have said to the referee or to the table, hey, that was a knockout. He has the nose broken. But it was Sebastian, it was Argentinian, there was so many factors in game. But I mean, that was a knockout or no? Because Ivan didn't lose consciousness, but he couldn't go on. Yeah. And that's very, I don't know how to say it, but it's very controversial. When we have to talk about knockout and when you can continue or not. I don't know. We have to discuss.
And like you said, do you think the fact it was the final made a difference there, maybe on the judgment, that if that was the first round, maybe it would have been given as a knockout, but the fact it was the final, and does anybody want to give away the gold medal on a disqualification?
Yes. I think 10 times in 10 seconds because it was the final. It was the only final against two Argentinians. Argentina made a great tournament, but in sparring, individual sparring, males, we only got 2 medals. Gold from Sebastian and silver from Ivan. We only got 2 medals in sparring. So it was a special situation, and Ivan was his first tournament as senior. So I love statistics, and I think it makes us work better.
Yeah, 100%. I think we might wrap it up there. We have been talking for, like you said, a good bit over an hour, and I really enjoyed the chat. It was great to have you on.
Yeah, me too, Jamie. It happens every time that I speak with somebody from our big Taekwondo family, and people that is so passionate as I or you. We could keep talking Taekwondo stuff from hours and hours.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It happens to me that people, my students or some colleagues, came to home from a dinner, and my wife just go away because she doesn't want to hear about Taekwondo no more. We can be 10 hours talking about Taekwondo.
Yeah, so that's why the podcast is great, because it gives an opportunity for me and other people to talk about Taekwondo.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I'd like to say stay safe, and hopefully the gyms and the schools will all be open fairly soon, and we might, hopefully we'll get back to competing, and that's fairly soon.
Well, thanks one more time, Jamie, for this opportunity. And one more time, I have to congratulate you because the podcasts are amazing. You made me companion a lot of times in my car, listen to them, and I hear them all. And what you are doing is great. It's fantastic for our Taekwondo. So say hello to all my Irish friends and stay safe.
William, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.